So just for anyone, I'm sure everyone knows, but the captain's knockout is worth 4 points. A win is worth 2 points. A draw is 1 point. A loss, obviously, 0.
No, it's just worth double, isn't it? Whatever he gets would have been an easier way to say it.
Yeah, well, I said it how I said it, so get fucked. Anyway.
Yeah, Team Hamza all the way. I'm sticking with Hamza. I think the WBC final eliminator as well. What a carrot at the end of the fight. So you get to fight for the world title after this. So yeah, I'm going to go with Hamza. I'm not changing. I think I said Hamza on points. I'm changing it to Hamza stoppage.
Oh, hairy muff.
I think that's a good shout. Stoppage as well.
Right, well, that could be a big 4 points for Queensbury there.
What did you say this was a final eliminator for?
For the WBC, for Adamis title.
Oh, right. Fucking hell.
Which makes it double interesting now. Plus, I don't think I can watch another Ammo Williams face-off anytime soon. Fucking drove me mad.
All right, quick answer, right? You've got to answer this, okay? Just quick answer. Who would you rather be stuck in a lift with, Ammo Williams or Deontay Wilder?
Oh,
bomb squad all day.
I'd cut the fucking cords.
Cut the cords, boy.
Oh, I don't know. Probably Deontay Wilder after that tripe that he was talking the other day, Ammo Williams. Fuck me. Now let's move on to the heavyweights, baby. We've got Daniel Dubois against Filip Hrgovic. So they have some history between them. The sparring back in the day, apparently Dubois was 19 years old and he got absolutely walloped about. I've heard that he went to hospital. Hrgovic mentioned that he went to hospital in the face-off. So, yeah, sounds like Dubois will have some demons there. But he is on a solid rampage again now after a big Baby Miller win. And Hrgovic comes off that fucking load of twonk against Mark Demori. So, yes, come on. Give us your thoughts, chaps. Kai.
I'm flip-flopping.
Oh!
This is my first ever flip-flop.
Right, let me go back into the pods and delete every other pod on the 5 versus 5 then, because you've completely gone the other way to all of them.
I just so desperately want Daniel Dubois to win this fight. I watched the Dempsey McKean fight, Hrgovic, Dempsey McKean. I weren't massively impressed. I know Dempsey McKean's a southpaw. I weren't impressed with Hrgovic in that fight. I weren't impressed with him in the Zhang fight, which I thought he lost. I mean, some people say he won, but he could have lost. I don't know. Daniel Dubois has been in with much better opponents. I know he's lost, but he has the power to clean you out, Daniel Dubois. If he can just drag this fight into the second half of the fight, am I flip-flopping? I might flip-flop back to Hrgovic. I don't know. Fuck knows, man. What am I saying here? I don't know if I can open myself up to the abuse that's gonna come my way. All right, okay.
Do you want a moment?
Yeah. Go to John. Go to John. Go to John. This is a bit emotional. This
is getting tough, man. It's getting hot out here. Right. So I just think I wouldn't want nothing more than Daniel Dubois to win this fight. He's a lovable character, right? And do you know what? Like saying that about Ammo Williams as well. Like we want these characters in boxing, and bless Dubois, he isn't gifted with the vocabulary that Ammo Williams has and the way that he can speak. But you know what? Got to love a trier. He's come out with some blinding sound bites. Doing the video with the punch bag in the background when he done that video, and he's just he's a lovable guy. I think we all want him to win, but I just got to be real about this, right? I'm not seeing it. I just see this guy that's got a brilliant 1-2, right? He's big, he's strong, and he's a bit of a bully. He's obviously been doing that, like knocking a lot of people out on the way up. But every time he's got in there with someone of note, someone that's good, Joe Joyce peppered him with a jab. He didn't really have an answer for it. He couldn't get round Joe Joyce's jab, and then obviously we all know what happened there. Like whatever he took the knee, and then I just look, he got gifted the Trevor Bryan fight, to get that WBA, whatever regular belt. I look at the Lorena fight. I mean, did he go down 2 times in that fight? And then, I mean, that Lorena, it just...
3.
I look at the Usyk fight, and apart from the body shot, right, or the below the belt shot, whatever you want to call it, if you actually go and look at that fight, he loses every round. He gets soundly beaten every single round in that fight. And in the Jarrell Miller fight, as much as Jarrell Miller was about £300, he no way he's done a proper training camp for that fight against Dubois. And it was a good victory, he won it. But we're all dining out under that victory. But there was moments in that fight where there was tough moments that Daniel Dubois had to go through in that fight, and he just didn't clean him out. And I look at Hrgovic, and I think the same. There's some questionable wins on Hrgovic's record, and he's not impressed me at times. And I'm sick to fucking death of hearing about all these sparring stories. Like, what have you done for me lately? What have you actually done in the ring?
Done nothing, John. Look at his fucking worst fucking resume in the heavyweight division. I would say Filip Hrgovic. Worst out of everyone sat on that table. He's got the worst one.
That's not his fault, is it, really?
Well, you're the master of your own destiny. If your fucking promoter ain't delivering for you, change promoter. Like, he was never solely with Matchroom anyway. There was always an element of the Sauerlands in the background. I don't know, pulling some strings here and there. But if your biggest win is Zhilei Zhang, which you didn't win, and then you stopped Dempsey McKean in the last round, and then either side of that, you got Mark Demori, who learned how to box on YouTube. Yeah. Radonic, Akhmatovic, Rydell Booker. There's nothing on here. Like zero.
I admit the Mark Demori one was bollocks. He could have had a tougher fight there, but I think he just wanted to save himself for the IBF because he thought that was going to be stripped.
So that in reality, the Zhang fight was near enough 2 years ago. And well, you said it to me. I've said Zhang's gas tank was all right in that fight, and you just both told me that he looked like he was dead. And Filip Hrgovic even struggled to beat him if he did beat him at all. So I'm thinking,
well, think about how many.
Is Daniel Dubois going to be too much for him here? Like, don't know.
No.
Who knows? What we hanging our hats on here?
Straight lines, mate. As soon as the pressure's on him, he goes back in straight lines, and I don't think he knows what to do going backwards.
Yeah, but what are we hanging our hats on with Hrgovic? Is it sparring stories with David Hay? Is it Zhang? What is it?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. It's like, but say like the Zhang fight. Did his dad just die before that Zhang fight?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. You do have to factor that in. I know you're saying you can't you just dining out on sparring stories and that, but you do have to factor that in. He was so close to his dad apparently, and it hit him so hard.
And within that fight, if you remember that fight, there was moments in that fight where he didn't look like he was there. Like he was looking away from the ref and the fight. There was something going on in that fight. I don't know what, but he took some bombs off of Zhang. And if you go and look at what Zhang's done lately, like you Joe Joyce, I know he lost to Parker, but he dropped Parker a couple of times in that fight. Yeah. Like he's got Big Bang Zhang. He's got that power. As you say, he stood up to that power, even though something weren't right, and he went the distance. But putting that to one side, there's other fights where I'm like, he's only had 17 fights. I think he's 30 years of age, 31, amateur background. We're waiting for the big fights. But I don't know why we've waited so long, because seeing him sit around that table, the way he seemed like the world champion sitting at that table, the energy that I was getting off of him, I felt like he was sitting there and they was all beneath him. Very condescending bloke, though, I will say that. Funny. But, he had... Brilliant. Where's all this been? If Eddie Hearn's half promoting him, why has he not been pushed up front and centre so we've seen all this side to him before? Because this is what fucking sells fights, saying stuff like that. That would a lot of that stuff around the table, that was fighting talk. If he said some of that stuff to Dillian White or Chisora, that might have gone off, innit?
Mm-hmm. I personally think this is just a guess, right? I don't think Hrgovic is scared of anyone, and I think the cards just haven't fallen for him over the years. He got the Zhang fight, but at the same time his father passed away and that hit him hard, so he would have had a hiatus there. After that Zhang fight, he could have pressed on, even though it was a controversial decision. I think he could have pressed on and fought someone half decent after that, but I do think that obviously back in the background there was stuff going on, and that's why. And also, if you look around that time, everything was scattered, wasn't it? AJ just lost to Usyk on the same night, funny enough. Dillian White was trying to get the Tyson Fury fight. Who else was there? Dubois at the time was not really, hadn't had the experience to get to a Hrgovic fight at that point. Who else was there? Wilder was floating about with Hellenius. So maybe the fights just haven't been there. at the right times for him.
And not been there, and maybe he's been in a Who Needs Him club, because if all these sparring stories are true, you know, he's a big guy, do you know what I mean? He's got, you know, he knows his way around the ring. Maybe them lot are thinking, what credit am I going to get from beating whatever, this Croatian that no one's heard of, but yet everyone in boxing knows he's fucking mustard. Maybe, as you say, your Dillian White, maybe they've all been avoiding him. Maybe they can't get the fucking fights. On
top of everything I said, Hrgovic was trying to place himself to get a world title amongst all of that. So, yeah, maybe it just, he hasn't been dealt the right hand.
Kaya is 100% flip-flop back. I'm calling it now. He's never flip-flopped on the channel before, and he's just done a double flip-flop.
Do you know, when you're both talking now, I've got this resigned look on my face. I think these two fuckers are right. Do you know that?
For me, the old Hrgovic confidence in that round table, just, I was already Hrgovic, but now I am fully on Hrgovic. I just am. Yeah, Dubois to me looked like a deer in headlights. I know he's got massive knockout power at Dubois, but Hrgovic has been through it with Zhang, like on his worst night. Took all of what Zhang gave him, and that couldn't put him out. So he's obviously got a stellar chin, Hrgovic, a stellar chin. And, his experience goes a long way back. And I think I'm predicting we might see near enough the best of Hrgovic now, because he's a bit more rejuvenated after his father's passing, and he's got the old world title in his sights. And I think Dubois has lit a bit of a fire in him, because never really seen Hrgovic before having any sort of beef with anyone. But now Dubois is in front of him and he's thinking, no, I'll show you. Do you know what I mean? And on top of that, I can't let go of that sparring story. That's 1-0 to Hrgovic in my mind. I know it's sparring, but that's an annihilation, no matter what way you look at it. And Dubois will have demons in this fight, no matter what. He just will. So I am Hrgovic all the way. Probably stoppage late.
John?
Hrgovic. And last thing I say, around that table, they said, in what order do you put the fighters? And didn't Hrgovic put himself first, Zhang second, Wilder third? So he even threw a little bit of shade over there at Wilder and all. So you give two fucks around that table, man. That's a man with some energy going into the fight. But I think
condescending is the word, John. That's the exact word. It was arrogant, condescending, and he looked down at Dubois like, you've got no chance.
You're nothing to me. Yeah,
it's convinced me. He's also so accurate, Hrgovic. I know can be a bit lackluster in fights, but he is so accurate. And when he hits Dubois ain't got a track record of taking punches well.
Well, he's not been sparked at Dubois, has he? Quit twice. So no one's like ironed him out and knocked him out cold. So,
ain't that worse?
No?
Yeah. Ain't that worse, though? If you're saying, like, you quit because you got punched.
Well, the first time he didn't want to go blind. So that's understandable. The second time, he just ran out of steam. Yeah. He ran out of steam. But, yeah, listen, I'm trying to make a case for Dubois because I think I thought his energy was pretty good round that table as well. I think did he call him a fucking CUNT or something? Or call him a fucker? I can't remember what it was. But I think the look he gave him, I think he kind of believed in his own hype a little bit. Dubois there. So listen, this for me is the most intriguing fight on the whole. On the whole 5v5, because I'm gonna stick with Hrgovic. I'm gonna stick with Hrgovic, but I'm gonna do a separate £10 bet on Dubois to knock him out, just for kicks, because I've said it and I almost flip flop. If I don't fucking put my money on it now, I'm gonna regret it if it happens. Dubois got a chance. He's got a puncher's chance in this fight, maybe a bit more than that. But yeah, you're probably right, both of you fuckers. Fucking ruin my flip flop, man.
Hey, he's got, listen, at that weight, he's got a puncher's chance. I mean, but if he fights Hrgovic 10 times, I'm thinking Hrgovic wins like fucking 9 times.
If Hrgovic comes in too cocky, too over arrogant, and dismisses this guy, he'll get knocked out. He will, because Dubois can knock anybody out with the shot, with the power that he's got. But I'll stick with Hrgovic, and I think Hrgovic will win this on points.
Right, the odds for that, by the way, are 2-1 Daniel Dubois, 2-5 Hrgovic. Right, what about a knockout? Let me just see. So by KO, 7-2 Daniel Dubois, 4-5 for Hrgovic.
God, that's not a bad price.